I had a student one time who was an excellent high school player, and she couldn't play certain high notes. And I'm like, these are easy high notes for a high school senior who plays every day to play. And I'm like, why can't she do this? And then something told me, duh, look at her mouthpiece, the part where the reed is, which is in your mouth where you blow into. And I didn't think about this, but I went ahead and looked at it, and there was a chunk missing out of the left side, like someone had just dropped it. And I'm like, of course, now that's why the mouthpiece, that's why she can't do it. It's not her, it's her equipment is broken. And so I said, get another mouthpiece from the band director, right away. And then the problem was solved, and she didn't seem to be like, oh, thank you so much for finding that out. And that's all right. But I kind of thought that she would have been like, oh, thank you for helping me solve a problem that I didn't have any. She was just going to play. Who knows how long she'd been playing, maybe years with this broken mouthpiece. And I didn't think to look for a broken mouthpiece because I had never encountered that in a student. All my students, anyone ever showed it to me, had a normally functioning mouthpiece. But her behavior or her experience caused me to kind of say, okay, well, now I've got to check if something's not working, I've got to break it down even further in a sense and make sure that their reed is not broken and their mouthpiece is not broken,
So that's a really interesting story, because I would guess from an emotional point of view that either she was totally dissociated from her wanting to learn how to play better and do her best, or she was in a lot of shame or fear for asking for help. Like she just didn't feel permission, or that it was possible to make something better. So I think it shows a lot about where she was in her maturity and where she was emotionally about things, because it wasn't even on her radar to say, well, thank God you figured that out and you fixed that for me, right? I think
you're totally right. That's exactly what I felt when it was happening. And this happened after all my hypnosis experience. So I'm kind of sitting there watching it play out. And I felt like, oh my goodness, it was like, as the teacher, trying to connect with her and let her know, hey, you're safe. I'm on your side. We're on the same team here, And so I tried to use all my techniques and kind of get that across to her that, hey, I'm supporting you. I'm not judging you. I just want you to be able to do this. I want you to be able to play this piece that you say you want to play in 2 months or whatever. I want you to play it as well as it can be done.
Yeah. So she might have felt a sense of shame that maybe she didn't realize for all that time that her mouthpiece was broken. And yeah,
we've all been there. We've all done it. We're like, I should know this.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she needs some help with fear of scrutiny and a good attitude towards learning, for sure.
Well, I know as myself as a young kid, because I was the smart kid, maybe you can identify with this too, some other folks can too. My parents actually did expect me to know everything. Like, I just remember that feeling like that I was expected to know everything. So I just took on, okay, I'm supposed to know everything. And like you were saying, sometimes I was smart enough that I could bluff enough to cover my tracks, so people thought, oh yeah, he knows it. He knows that too, And so yeah, I've gotten better. It annoys some people sometimes, but I really, what helped me was being able to say, hey, I don't know. I don't know. It frees me up saying I don't know, and sometimes I do know, but a lot of the times when I say I don't know. And that means I'm in a learning, humble state. I want to know more about it. I'll go off and find the information or to have the experience about it, and then I will know about that. But
yeah. So this belief that some people have that they need to be knowing everything from the time they exit the womb. That there's nothing that they need to learn or not know or make a mistake about can hurt people.
Then that means we should have never come here then. We shouldn't have been born then, because life's all about, I think that's why in my belief system, I believe we came to have experiences, to do things in this life and add to our previous data bank of knowledge experience that we had from previous, if you believe in other lifetimes or whatever, whether or not you do, it doesn't make any difference. But yeah, I think that we're here to kind of add to the body of experience.
Yeah.
You know?
And knowing it is one thing, but like knowing it, right? Knowing it in your whole
Oh,
self,
yes.
in your subconscious, in your
Right.
emotions, in the way that you're intuitively responding to life. So I think that story is a really good example of how with hypnosis, we're always watching what are people actually doing with whatever random situation, and any situation can show us where they're at in terms of this kind of maturity and learning and self-acceptance model.